This artwork is made by taking fabric placed on rooftops or around objects and left outside for 6 months to a year without any accelerant, any emulsion, and time passing and whatever weather occurs during that time. I then harvest that work and then sit with it. Then I sort of make some determinations on how my hand will or will not engage. So you'll find work that has very minimal gestures painted upon them, like very thin, colorful borders, paired with work that is more full and my hand is a little more present. While in grad school, I was dealing with issues of who I was as a maker and how important the evidence of my hand was or was not. My final quarter of graduate school, it was a very cold winter, and my wife and I decided to hang quilts in the windows of our bedroom. And basically in the 2 or 3 months, the light had leaked through the blinds and bleached out all these lines in the quilt. And prior to that, I had been making all this artwork about the sun and light and shadow, but with very much my hand and with paint or the occasional sculpture, trying to really hint at this grandiose object that is the sun and its power, but never once did I think I could make art with that light and with that power, until there's this quilt in front of me and I could see the effect of the sun right there in real time. And it was a huge epiphany. For a very long time, I would not paint into them at all. It was important for me not to have my hand in there for a while, and with the idea I could still speak in a painting vernacular, but without my hand present. After a span of time, it was I have all this other fabric. What happens if now I do paint into it? And that sort of started a push and pull between where my hand enters and doesn't, and sewing came back into things. And with that, the rigidity of that first wave of the work just started to dissolve a little bit and expand, and I just started to create these borders that were creating focal points of these really beautiful abstractions that very much hint at light frozen in time. The borders, to me, hint at my interpretation of a film still, and they are completely meant to provide a focal point for these beautiful gestures that were made by the sun and the wind and the rain. And within that, I get to play with color or not. As much as they are minimal gestures, it gives me a gesture that satisfies me enough. I've probably actively been engaging in sound as a gesture in my art making for a little over 10 years now, maybe 15 years or something. Earlier work of mine, I felt like I honed things down to very simple, rudimentary gestures that would be layered to the point of some sort of transcendence in form or shape or color or optical relationship. And as I started to engage with sound, I took that model and applied it. At first, it would be a set of symbols, and I could just keep playing and keep looping, and over time, that simple gesture would suddenly be this grandiose ball of noise. I feel like a lot of my work is so much about failure just as much as it is, not even necessarily failure, but experimentation. And experimentation doesn't always lead to positive results or aesthetically pleasing results. So just keep at it and sort of see what sticks. A lot of this stuff is really a lot about surrender and problem solving and the push and pull between those things.